Yo, what is going on, Rain Gang? It's your boy Sutton Def back here with another video from the Purple Rain Podcast. Just checking in with you guys today just to talk about the big news that just dropped today. Our next defensive coordinator might be former defensive coordinator from the Michigan Wolverines, Mike Macdonald. Now, I say former because we fully expect him to become the Ravens defensive coordinator here in the next few days or so. They'll probably put pen to paper on it. And the reasons being is because he is an FOF. He is a friend of the franchise. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why I think that might not be the best thing. So I'm going to give you two reasons why I really like this move by the Ravens and two reasons why I really don't like this move by the Ravens. Before I get into that, though, make sure you guys go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can get all updates on everything Purple Rain and all updates on everything Ravens as well. So two reasons why I do like this move by the Ravens. One is that Mike Macdonald, he is a young guy. He's a young guy. He's 34 years old, which means that he does have that knack, that eye for innovation. You know, he's not one of these older coaches who comes in the league who's kind of stuck in their ways. This is what they're used to doing. This is what they're used to scheming up, the type of defense they're used to running, and they just kind of stick with that. They live by it, they die by it, and they do not care. Now, I'm not saying that's how every older defensive coordinator is, but you do know, like, older people are kind of like stuck in their ways. You know, the old expression, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? Well, now we got a young dog coming in, 34-year-old Mike Macdonald, who is kind of like a young prodigy. A lot of people have talked him up a lot in the last couple of years. Now, with that being said, there are also reasons why that might be a drawback as well, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes, but I really like the fact that they brought in a guy who is younger, who's not going to be stuck in his ways, who is going to kind of innovate and just try new things within this defense. And another pro that I really like about him, so this is the second reason, is because he actually did make some changes. He did make some good turnaround while he was at Michigan. He was only there for 1 year, guys. And just to give you a little bit of background, in case you don't know anything about Mike Macdonald, he was working for the Ravens as the linebackers coach for a number of years. And he actually did not get the defensive coordinator job over Wink Martindale in 2018. And so, he stayed with the Ravens for a few more years. And in this past season, he decided to go be defensive coordinator for the Michigan Wolverines. And the Michigan Wolverines, and this is the second pro, again, they actually did have a pretty good year on defense. Now, my biggest thing, and what I talked about in the last video on the Purple Rain Podcast, is that I wanted a defensive coordinator who can produce sacks, negative plays, tackles for losses, things like that. Now, the Michigan Wolverines last season, after I did a little bit of homework, because I've known this guy for less than 24 hours, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's just my knee-jerk reaction, remember. But based off of what I saw, Michigan, they weren't top 50 in sacks, they weren't top 50 in interceptions, but they were top 20 in scoring defenses, which was really good. So when they were turning the ball over, they were making the most out of it. I did like that. Now that has a little bit more to do with, I think, talent, and once you actually make the play and actually making something happen to finish the play, I think that has more to do with that. But, at the end of the day, he did put certain guys, in fact, in positions to be better players. For example, one, Aiden Hutchinson, who was a runner-up in the Heisman voting last year, had 14 sacks, which is just insane. David Ojabo, who's actually the more popular name in edge rusher, outside linebacker, he notched 11 sacks. And then also they have a safety in Daxton Hill who performed really well too. And all three of those players are actually possible first-round projected picks. So with that being said, he's going to have the scoop on a lot of those guys as well, which is pretty nice to have, especially considering that we do have that 14th pick. So we kind of have the pick of the litter between those three guys if we do decide to do that. And, we will need trench help with Calais Campbell. We don't know his future. Derek Wolfe, we don't know his future. And we still got guys like Justin Madubuike developing, things like that. Brandon Williams, we don't know how long he's going to be in the fold either. So maybe we do draft a D lineman, we go Aiden Hutchinson. If he doesn't, he'll probably go before we get to him. But then also you have David Ojabo as well. And then, like I said, Daxton Hill at safety. So I don't know, he'll have the scoop on those guys, and he did make those guys better players. He put them in the positions that they were most comfortable in order for them to succeed. And that's been my main gripe, kind of, with Wink Martindale, because it seems like he hasn't really always done that. And, I talk about this all the time, and everybody talks about it. Matt Judon, you can see, while he was with us, he could not get over 6-7 sacks a season. But, his first year in New England, he's got double-digit sacks. So, he definitely, did impress me in that way where, he kind of brought out the best in those players in this past season. And this, there's no discredit to those players as well. They definitely did their thing, and big shout out to them. But, it does say something when a defensive coordinator can come in and kind of move pieces around, and then those pieces start to flourish. So yeah, those are going to be my two pros about it. Now, my two cons about it, kind of going back to what I was talking about a few minutes ago about him being a young guy. Yes, he is 34 years old. Yes, he can innovate, but this opens up a big opportunity to get out-coached, right? So, and he was out-coached in his first year as playing, not playing, but coaching for the defensive coordinator as for Michigan. He was out-coached a couple times, against a couple teams. I know he was out-coached against Georgia. Georgia had a lot of talent, so I'm not really holding that too much against him, but he was out-coached, and there was a couple other games as well. And the Ravens really don't have time for that, right? We don't have time for that at all. The Ravens are a playoff, when they're healthy, they are a playoff contending, Super Bowl contending even team. Like if you have a healthy Lamar Jackson, a healthy offensive line, running back core, the Ravens can definitely go far. So we do not have time for a younger coach to be getting out-coached in, say, the divisional round of the playoffs or the AFC Championship game. Because, there's a lot of very, very talented offensive minds out, going around the league right now, because it's an offensive league. They say defense wins championships, but, in the past couple seasons, we've seen offense really win a lot of championships. Minus last year when, the Chiefs could not stop the Bucs from getting into the backfield, sacking Patrick Mahomes. So, like I said, this is kind of like an offensive-minded league now. So you look at some of the offensive minds in the league, like Kyle Shanahan, McDermott, McVay, all these guys, Cliff Kingsbury, like all these guys. There's a lot of really talented offensive minds now, and we really cannot be wasting time. Eric Bieniemy, Jesus Christ, how could I forget him? We cannot be wasting time getting out-coached because we have a younger coach. And this is another thing, this leads into my next con as well. I don't want to see a Mike Macdonald get consistently out-coached and him not being held accountable. I don't want to see that because, again, guys, he is an FOF. He is a friend of the franchise. The Ravens and Mike Macdonald, are very, very familiar. They're very, very familiar. So if that's the case, they really need to, there needs to be some sort of checks and balances going forward, because somebody has to answer for, the struggles that we had defensively, even offensively as well. So that is one thing that worries me, or two things that worries me, actually, him getting out-coached, and then also just, him maybe not being held accountable because he is a friend of the franchise. And we know how the Ravens do. It's like a good old boys club. It's a good old boys club. Once you're in, and the only way that you can, kind of find your way out of that or fall your way out of it is, like you said, with Wink. Money talks. Money talks, guys. Wink wanted more money because he was doing his job. Believe it or not. I think the only reason why Wink got fired, honestly, is because the season ended the way it did. If we would have ended the season 10-7 even, made the playoffs, maybe even won a playoff game, Wink would not be fired. They would have given him that money. Why? Because we would have won a few more games, but the reason why we didn't win a few more games was not because of our defense. It was because of the offense. The defense was holding really, really good teams underneath 20-25 points. It was the offense that couldn't step up and score over 20-25 points. So, like I said, man, if that hadn't happened and we won a couple more games, I think they would have been like, you know what, Wink, you're right. You do deserve that extra money. You did hold those really good offenses to X amount of points, under 20. So, yeah, we'll give you that. But since we did not win those games, they didn't give him that leverage, which I don't think is fair. And here we are with Mike Macdonald. But I'm kind of rambling now, guys. This video is almost at 10 minutes. So that's just two reasons I do and two reasons I don't like this move by the Ravens. And I'll just recap real quick. The two reasons I do like this move: he's a young guy, and two, he knows how to put guys in the right position. The two reasons I don't like this pick is because, one, he's a friend of the franchise. And that kind of steers me, it kind of rubs me the wrong way, because I know that they won't necessarily hold him as accountable as somebody who's just kind of like a foreigner, who's just perfect for the job, And then the other thing is, he has a tendency to get out-coached sometimes, and the Ravens really don't have time to get out-coached. You saw what getting out-coached does to you in a divisional round, matchup when it's so close, and all you need is just like your defensive coordinator to know not to just throw prevent defense at the Kansas City Chiefs, knowing that they have some of the best seam play in the game with Travis Kelce. That's all it is, somebody who understands the differences, I guess. But I want to know what you guys think about it, the Reign Gang. I really love you guys. I really appreciate you guys for coming through and watching these videos, man. It really means so much to me. Like I said, if you could like this video before you leave, I would appreciate that so much. And make sure you catch us tomorrow on the Purple Reign Podcast, episode 94, I want to say, featuring your boy Sutton Def and Simply AS10 as well. But yeah, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Till next time, peace.